What is good? What is good? What is good? Hello, everyone. My name is Davin Wickstrom, and I am your host for a new podcast called Foodservice Unfiltered. This podcast is a journey designed to find the innovators, the sages, the disruptors, the influences in our industry, and have a fantastic open conversation to understand their journey, where they got, how they got there, and the lessons they learned along the way. Before I get started, couple things. My intention is to create a space where people can bring their authentic self and talk about the influences in their life that got them here. So I'm really excited. How are we going to get there? I have nary a clue. I have a clue, but what I'm trying to say is the conversations are going to take us where we need to go. And where we end up is exactly where we need to be anyway. How exciting is that? It's going to unfold in real time. So before I get started, I'm absolutely going to read off of a piece of paper here because I have to do some thank yous. So I have to do thank you to my company Vivro Water, specifically Christian Kohler, Shannon Ward, Chris Morisawa, Marjan Mahmoudi, and Bob Kleckner for taking this insanely grassroots passionate dream and providing the space and place to serve through words. So thank you so very much. I'm excited to share with you our first guest in this maiden voyage, our beginning, our first note, our opening scene of Food Service Unfiltered. My first guest, many of you know, Jason Wange. This was an easy first call for me when we launched this podcast. Jason is a born leader. He's humble, he's kind and courageous, naturally inquisitive, with an unrelenting passion to learn and connect. He has made the industry as a whole better. Jason has a day job working for Cal Mill, which I understand this year is their 60th birthday. Happy birthday, Cal Mill. He'll go into what they absolutely do. I don't want to mess that up. He is their senior director of sales. In Jason's free time, he runs a podcast called Food Service Power Plant. If you have not checked it out, I absolutely encourage you to check it out. The dude is legit. He's a man. And without further ado, I am going to welcome our guest, Jason Wange, to the stage. Jason,
Davin, hi, buddy.
how are you, dude?
I'm great. I'm doing great. How the heck are you? This is
Oh,
so awesome. I listen, man. I'm just going to tell you, your this is going to be such a gift. What you're building and this unfiltered. I love the title for a lot of reasons. I love the play with Vivro, and then this idea of just us getting to be real because that's what so many people crave. And you are a perfect person to bring fun conversations like this to the industry, and it's going to
yeah.
bless many. So I love it. I love it. I love it.
And as are you. You're a perfect first guest to do exactly the same, Jason. Light knows light, my brother. Like that's how it works out. So when you know, you know. So as I mentioned in the opening, you were an easy first guest, and we've had multiple conversations before even doing this live
Yeah.
about just about everything. It's amazing.
Well, I love being it with you, buddy, and not just when we get to collaborate at industry events, but for your friendship and your I don't know, you're really important in my life. So
Yeah, same. Love you, dude.
yeah, you too, buddy. You too.
Thank you. Well, hey, without further ado, let's jump into the deep end. You are at the forefront in your podcasts and conversations and your speaking engagements about mental health and the human condition.
Mhm.
I have multiple questions around this, but my first one is were you born into that? Meaning, like, was that something that you always kind of knew, or is that something as you got older you kind of worked your way into? How did that work out?
Yeah, I would say that as I grew in my career, I mean, my mental health journey goes back kind of significantly in my 20s when I
Mhm.
really started having to be very proactive and thinking about what does it look like to support me? How do I live in a mind and a spirit that feel okay, that feel safe, that
Yeah.
feel like I can grow from? So there was my journey in my 20s. I got into food service in my 30s, 31, I think, 30 or 31, and, in a sales role. And that was great. But I think over time, what I found myself gravitating toward, let's say you and I was trying to offer you a solution, we'd spend a half an hour on whatever products. And then I gravitated towards just hearing someone's story. I just want to know how they were doing.
Yep.
And at times, honestly, man, I felt like a little bit embarrassed with that. I was like, gosh, why do I love this part as much as that part, if not more? And so I found myself leaning that direction. And then when COVID hit, what really made this a priority in my world in terms of the industry was when I was leaving our company, my previous company, and to start something new. I just knew it was time for a transition. We had a
Yep.
lot of health challenges at home with my wife and daughter, and it was time for me to no longer be a part of owning something which kind of consumed all of my mind space
Yep.
to doing something new. And I was supposed to go work for Cowmill, and we had chosen a date that turned out to be March 20th, 2020. And
Oh,
so
geez.
obviously the COVID was coming. We'd planned this months and months in advance. So all of a sudden, the new role at Calmo, where of course I am now, got postponed because
Yep.
our world kind of shut down like everybody else's. And I had time on my hands, and I don't do great just being bored and doing nothing. So that's when I started taking some of the lessons of my story and the things that I'd had to learn to move to a place from real unhealth to
Yep.
a gradual place of health, and just started offering them. And that's how the food service power plant was born. And I was nervous when I started sharing. It was probably we started sharing like personal development, positive mindset techniques from probably, I think I started around April, like end of March, April of 2020. And then in June of 2020, I think, remember my dad called me, and we're still in the thick of everything.
Yep.
And he'd had a buddy that had taken his life. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's such a dark season. Maybe it was
Yep.
March, or I'm sorry, May or June. And I was like, maybe I'll just share my story, which was something I had not shared. I was nervous to share, some of the truth of my story, particularly in my 20s, and how I'd continued to learn and grow and battle and all these things. And then I just put it out there in an abundance of nervousness and caution, wondering, gosh, when someone shares a mental health story of depression, of anxiety, of really your darkest places, you don't know if there will be a stigma attached to you, and if there you end up carrying this unseen burden into everybody. And that wasn't the goal. It was just to say, listen, if you're in a dark place, I've been there, and you're not alone, and you can come through it in a place of health on the other end. And that's really kind of how it began. And now it gets to be a fun gift where I get to go do my day job, like you mentioned. And then while I'm there, it's not different for me anymore to ask someone how they're doing, and let's just get real. So
Yeah, amazing courage, Jason. A couple things. I want to share a story with you,
yeah.
tying into what you were talking about. I was talking to some colleagues at Vivro yesterday, mid to early 20s, so a different generation than you and I. And I asked them point blank, I go, how easy is it to talk about your needs, your mental health needs at work? Do you feel comfortable? Do you have that space? And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that comes
Wow.
that's a given. I can do that. I know. No, I was absolutely blown away. I'm like, what an absolute gift. You and
Yeah.
I can relate to. I would say we're the first generation where, like, as a group, we're like, oh no, no, no. I'm going to step in to talking about the mental health and finding out what the real is and how do I connect with people. And my God, Jason, talking putting yourself out there saying, you know what, got some thoughts in my head. I'm not feeling great. I need some help, or I want to do better. Like, kudos to you, Jason.
Thanks, David. It was I think it was something in me that it felt like, if I maybe there was a part of me that felt like I was hiding some of my story by
Yeah.
not being authentic. And in a moment where um it might benefit someone to, I'm a big believer in this idea of permission, that
Uh,
oftentimes we hold things inside, or we won't take the steps that inherently maybe we think we should, because we think that it makes us weak, or there's something wrong with that, or whatever the perception is, or self stigma or judgment I put on me. And And oftentimes for me, there's been so many things I haven't leaned into because I didn't believe I was capable of it or that it was okay.
Yeah.
And then I saw someone else who had done it, who I so respected. And I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted a year. You know what I mean? I could have done this a year
Right.
ago, but now you're telling me that you did this. And okay, now I can go. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but I've needed permission in my story.
You know, Jason, I saw you at the FCSI event, like NAFM 23, up speaking about just about that, and that's before we spoke. You absolutely in real time gave me permission to talk about that stuff. Like, that's
Mm.
amazing, dude. So, like, it's all connected, dude. So, and the same thing about leaning in and mental health and some really dark stuff to lean in that and know that it's going to be okay. So yeah, amazing.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I feel grateful that people let me share and that they let me be an ear. And I love that in everything we do, we'll talk about purpose a lot,
Yep.
and we all want to be a part of something that feels really meaningful. And so it's fun watching you do this. You do wonderful work with Vivro and your team over there, and you're selling clean water and all these ways to make it look sexy and cool and simple and all the things that you guys do. I don't know what your mission statement is, but
You're
all those
hired,
things.
Jason. You're
There we
hired.
go. There we go. You do. You make it look cool. Every time I'm at the Centurion Lounge at DIA, I'm like, I'm going to go get some sexy water. I'm on sparkling right now, by the way. I started with still. I've moved to sparkling. And it's wonderful and it's meaningful, but to connect with people in another meaningful way that
Yep.
supports both, we all want to do that. It just fills our cup. And so I love that part.
Yeah, and it's a sense of belonging. I like to be seen. Like being seen. Friends and colleagues I talk to. That's an important piece of. You can go into a full office and never be seen. Like who you
Yeah.
are is your essence, and the work you're doing, Jason, to create that space that allows people, like, you're giving them the thumbs up, like, just come as you are, and it's a subtle move, but I'm telling you, you may not know it, but the impact on people that really could be struggling or need to be seen, like, you're doing that, dude. So continue to do that always, man.
I love it, buddy. I'm having fun. Thank you.
Yeah. A side note, if anybody is in a dark place, I'm always about solutions too. If you can always call me or Jason, but if you can't call us, dial 988 on your cell phone if you're getting to a place where you need some real help. So it's
Mm.
about solutions. That's the real deal. We've all been affected by that. So certainly think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna
Hmm.
pivot a little bit, Jason, but
Yo,
we may
yo,
come
you
back.
go.
Well, we may come back to it. We always do.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about, like these days? And that could be your own work. It could be really anything, but really, what is like? Oh my gosh, yeah, that's it.
I would say, gosh, there's a lot of things in different compartments of my world that feel exciting. From a cow mill perspective, there's all these new solutions. You and I have talked about this. Like we sell, we help people upgrade presentations, right? Banqueting and buffet and all this kind of stuff. But at the heart of it, if you're going to go deep, we say we want to make people feel a certain way.
Ah,
That's our mission. And our team this year on the product development side has just been game changer. Our trendologist, all these things. And so they've given us just an array of tools that will help people feel a certain way. And in addition to how we hope we care for them and listen and all these things, it's the mixture of all of it. So that is wicked fun to feel like you've got just an abundance of tools and people on our team that are just so aligned in energy and enthusiasm to go make the industry feel a certain way. That's really fun to be a part of. I would say, so from that perspective, on a personal perspective, I don't know, there's lots of fun travel and adventure stuff. Liam and I are planning to go see Gramps in Arizona. He and I will play golf. Liam wants to drive the golf cart. My sister and I are going to go do the same with my dad. He just turned 75, so we're going to go spend a weekend
nice.
together, which is great. Just little fun trips like that that bring a mixture of adventure and connection, which are really fun. And then certainly just fun speaking things. I got to speak in addition to my cow mill work last week, I got to speak just on kind of anxiety and awareness,
Yeah.
mindfulness. And that's always just a really fun gift to put together thoughts and figure out where I've been, what I've learned, and to do that. So yeah, all that stuff's pretty fun, brother.
Uh, can you talk a little bit more about anxiety? It-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's, that's been the journey from a mental health perspective of my last, I don't know, 4 years or so. Really, once the kids became teenagers, you know, uh,
I'm not laughing. I'm not. I get it. I understand. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, you get it. It's you know, there's this one of my I tell the story, like one of my friends said once, like you can only be as a parent, oftentimes you're only as happy as your least happy child. And I kind of say this joke. So, with a 16-year-old and a almost 14-year-old, that means that, for the last 5 years, at least every year of the last 5 years, I've had one kid in middle school. And if, it's true that I can only be as happy as my least happy child, then for the last 5 years, I've been miserable. Because middle school is hard. And so, of course, it's kind of in jest, and it's kind of true. Like, they're hard years. And so as a parent, I'm always wondering, oh my gosh, is this the way I'm trying to care? Is this moving them in a direction of hopefulness and positivity and their fulfillment, or moving them in a place that creates a wound, or in my discipline, or whatever these things are that Shannon and I try to do as parents? And I don't know. And I carry that probably deeper than I should. And so my journey has been, moving from just a place of constant anxiety to trusting a little bit more, and utilizing all these tools of presence, not worrying about the future, not assuming the future, not chewing on the past, of just really being right now and finding life here. And then as well, a big tool I've been utilizing in the last few years has been this process called neurofeedback in
Yep.
my life. And so, where they study your brain, and someone did a mind map, a brain map, and said, Jay, like, there's a lot going on up there. And where that's literally the doctor's first words when I walked in her office after she studied. She goes, "You got a lot going on up there, don't you?" And
There's
I was
some
like,
stuff. There's
"Yeah,
some stuff we gotta over here. Over here.
I know." So just really being committed to that journey, to saying, I want my mind to feel settled. The brain is the one thing. Someone told this to me once, like, so I just had knee surgery yesterday because my knee was having pain. And then I go to a doctor, they do an x-ray, they do an MRI, they figure out what's going on, and they go fix my knee. The brain is different, though, where if I'm saying, I'm feeling a little funky up here, things don't feel as healthy as they could, I feel scattered, I feel anxious, that we go talk with someone. We don't actually study the brain very often. And so neurofeedback is a way to go really do a brain map. They can find it. They say, I see it here, I see it here, I see what's going on here. And we can realign these kind of frequencies in your brain to just settle down a little bit, amidst other tools of, mindfulness or presence, all this kind of stuff. So yeah.
It's amazing, Jason. God, you just handed me a plate of amazingness. Thank you. Is there a certain amount of grief you're experiencing as your children get older? Um,
Mm.
and celebration. I'm going right in, Jace.
Go, let's go, David. I love it. This is what we do.
Yeah.
It is a weird time because my 16-year-old, she's gone a lot. And
Yeah.
and she's working, and she's out with friends at, whether the local, Dutch Bros is like the local, she loves that, she and her girlfriends. And so she's gone a lot doing all the things I was doing when I was 16.
Yep.
And so it's hard. We're watching this, I don't know that disconnect is the right word. It's this healthy her figuring out her and that independence, phase,
Yeah.
where we're less, her friends are more, and she's going out. And I was just like on the couch last night thinking, I guess this is what it's supposed to feel like. And it's weird that, maybe she's not coming to me for as much at times, or the holding hands don't happen as much as they did, when she was 8. But I think this is really healthy. And as she moves towards being 2.5 years away from being done with high school and figuring out whatever's next for her in her new world of independence, whether that's school, whether that's doing her own thing, whatever that looks like, I guess this is really great. And it's an odd dichotomy. So
I wonder out loud, Jason, are the tears or sadness you have around that just an abundance of love? Meaning like tears are oftentimes can be just like you have tears when you love somebody or care about someone and want the best. So
Yeah.
part of that process is that you're experiencing is like that that father love, that parent love that when you see your child, it is like, okay, here, take my heart, take my mind, take my soul. Like
Yeah.
I will protect you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, for sure. It's a love of whatever she's becoming,
Yeah.
and who she wants to be in ways that make her feel really fulfilled, and trying not to. My wife tells me all the time, like, don't take things personally. It's not that her importance has shifted in who matters, which again happened to me, happened to you, happens to all of us. And
Yeah.
so I need to take it less personally. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It's just a really healthy transition. And I'm lucky in that, both our kids at times, we still try to find ways to connect, whether it's Liam and I like fishing. He's into fishing. So I'm learning a lot about fishing. Or Haley and I will drive 25 minutes into another town to find a bagel shop, once every other week that we love, where we drive in. She's driving right now. We're in permit phase. So, she drives, I'm in the passenger seat, and, we listen to some music, and then we sit and we have everything bagels, toasted, plain cream cheese. I get a cup of coffee. She gets an OJ, and we still get these times, and it looks different, but I'm learning how to understand. God bless my wife for helping teach me this, that different isn't bad, and it doesn't mean anything's wrong.
Ah, different isn't bad. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm
It's a
glad
hard
you're
it's hard for me. I'm used to the I'm just, probably an empath, and so emotional, and I love those snuggle moments
yep.
where, on my phone, when I turn my iPhone sideways, I learned this recently, pictures start coming up on your phone, like when it's just sitting on my desk from the past. And so pictures will come up from when, he was 6 and she was 8, and we were on a vacation, or we were, doing what at a daddy daughter dance or something like this. And I think back so longingly to, oh
Yeah.
my God, that felt so fulfilling, the times I longed for. And even though it doesn't look like that way now necessarily, it looks different as they keep growing up. The amount of time that they want to be in their rooms is significant, like learning that they're doing them, or FaceTiming their friends, or, whatever it might be. And so that it's okay. That's my big work right now. That's been my big work.
That's a lot going on. Amazing. Great work doing that, Jason. Yeah. I'm just gonna stay there because I think it's interesting. I'll speak for me, and I'd be interested what you think. I still have anchor points with my dad, playing catch in the front yard, and we would call a 9 inning game, and I'd start arguing balls and strikes with my father because I throw is strikes, but those are anchor points. But my dad maybe never knew that that was one of my anchor points, or
Mm.
times that we had. So did you have that with your parents going along, that you're like your mom and dad maybe didn't know about it, but you're like, oh my gosh, that's stuck with me my whole life?
Yeah, well, certainly throwing a football with my dad, or my dad and my folks were split. So I would see my dad over Christmas time. And then in the summer, my sister and I would be out in Denver with him. So a lot of our time with my dad was in his office, as we would, I'd be the janitor in the, I may be cleaning up and wiping down tables and
Right.
polishing refrigerators in the test kitchen, all that kind of stuff. So that was a lot of kind of our time together. Or even if I'd go on trips, in Colorado, he'd drive up to Wyoming for a show, and I'd go with him, and we'd go do a show together and figure that out. So there were a lot of, and honestly, that's where I started meeting people in the industry who are still in it as a kid. Some of these guys became my second and third dads to some degree. I don't,
Yep.
just other older men who I'd gotten to know through years of them working with my dad, them being in my sphere, and really getting to see how they did life, for sure. And then for my mom, my mom was just a beast of a human being in a beautiful way, in terms of she was working 2 jobs, sometimes 3, to keep us going, trying to
Yep.
get me to lacrosse practice and my sister to soccer, and, navigating the world that we did. They both, they both were unbelievable. And I hold so many moments in high regard as to who I incorporate into me. I always really value working hard for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like letting people down. There might be unhealth in there, to be
Well,
honest, some
yeah. Hey,
anxiety.
Jason, what's behind that? Let's peel that one back. Yeah.
Just
What's
send me
behind that?
send me the invoice afterwards, David. Like you're my
Right.
therapist today. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's just and it's something that it's another part of the anxiety piece is I really don't want to ever be the guy that lets someone down or doesn't go the extra mile for a customer or for my team, really. Like I could never look my team in the eye if I just didn't feel like I was giving it my all or, at home. And so there's and I think I learned that both from my parents. And yeah, I think I learned
Do
that
you,
from
do
both
you
of them.
want to you want to do something with me here?
Let's go. What do you got?
Okay. So you say you don't. Okay. You just say I don't want to let people down.
I don't want to let people down.
Okay. Then what? Then what happens if you let people down?
Oh gosh. Um, if I let people down, I don't know. Then I feel disappointed in me inside. Then maybe the perception that I'm here to support everybody and go the extra mile changes. I don't want people to think I'm just, floating off the efforts of everyone else while I just coast in.
Yeah. And
Um,
what happens if they do? What's
um, I don't know. Um, I guess eventually maybe you'd lose your job if you weren't giving your best, giving your all in terms of what you did.
do, do,
Then yeah, go ahead.
Jason, do you think you're going to lose your job if you let somebody down? Like just once, let somebody down once.
No,
Okay.
no. Yeah, I hadn't made that leap on my own though, so I'm glad that you're there helping me
Just,
out.
I'm holding the line, brother. I got you. Like, yeah.
I love it.
I'm just curious with like that feeling behind if I let people down, like are the core feelings that come up, like or thoughts or like just one or two words that are like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I think for me, I like the idea of just feeling shame if I didn't give my all to folks, whether here or in my professional life or my extended family who I'm close with. If I didn't engage in a way that felt present and that I cared, that would probably trigger that in
Yeah.
some capacity, I'm guessing.
Shame is oof, that's heavy. Shame is heavy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People start wars over shame.
yeah, that's a big, I guess it's an emotion. I don't know. It's a big feeling that certainly we've all experienced at different times. Oftentimes, for many of us, it's undue. It's shame over something that nothing's been done wrong, but I might feel it anyway because perhaps at times I have an unhealthy view of what success or performance or whatever it might be looks like. And so I carry things that I don't need to. It's a part of when I went to the neurofeedback and she pointed all these things out. She goes, Jason, you live in a constant state of fight or flight.
Ah,
Constant. She goes, you are always have it so that you've got one foot on the gas so that you're always humming at a high rate, but you also have a foot on the pedal. So you're not making it very far. And oh yeah, man. And so it's figuring, and that comes from just years probably of undue or not necessarily healthy things like this, like we talk about, right? There's always this hyper vigilance of, am I doing good enough? Am I doing good enough? Scanning the surroundings. Am I engaged enough? Do they feel cared for? Do they feel like I'm giving my all? Whatever these things are, which on the outside can look like great performance. It can look like success. It can look like engagement.
yeah,
But on the inside, it can feel like a burden over time. And I think my journey right now remains, how do I still engage the way that feels fulfilling and that
yeah,
where I can feel proud? I always want to feel proud
sure.
of the job I'm doing or the effort I'm putting forth, while doing it not out of a place of fear of whether it's letting someone down, feeling shame. How do I do that from a place of health? And I probably still don't really know what that looks like. The
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
I
still
mean,
learning.
yeah, awesome. You don't know. Like, my gosh. you have something to look forward to, and whether
Yeah.
it's enlightenment or the next or whatever it is for you, how stinking exciting is that, Jason? That you
You
don't
know,
know.
that's a great point, David. There's so much more. It's so funny. We talk about health or unhealth. We talk about fulfilled or not.
Yeah,
You know, not this isn't meant to sound discouraging, but the journey never ends. And there is a level of hope in that. If you love learning, then to your point, gosh, there's an abundance of more, gifts to unwrap, if you will, a
yeah,
new gift of enlightenment of, oh my God, it can look this way or it can feel this way. The amount of things I didn't think were possible that at some point I learned, oh my gosh, that is possible. I can, connect from a place that feels settled. I had no idea. And there's just endless amounts more of that I'm sure I'm not even aware of now, questions I haven't even asked yet,
yep.
but that I know are coming as I hang out with you or other industry friends who I watch live a certain way, engage a certain way with a different feeling in your body, perhaps of what around what that looks like or motivation or whatever that looks like, and think, oh,
Yeah.
maybe that's something I can incorporate into me.
I mean, Jason, remember, I mentioned it earlier. You gave me permission to talk about my mental health journey. Like,
Mm,
just remember that too. Can I share something this week that totally like blew my mind around what you're
yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
So I'm listening to a book on tape. I'm not a reader. I can read, but I'm not a reader. I'm a listener.
Yeah.
Um, Course in Miracles. It's a daily reminder. But I heard this and it just like shook me to my core. It said, "Source consciousness is unlimited." Now that could be God, that could be Buddha, that could be Jesus. It could be spirit,
Mm,
whatever that higher power is for you. It's unlimited. What
mm,
we do with our ego is, if we're talking to that spirit, we're going, okay, well, I want to be a millionaire. But like, and you're talking to God, but oh wait, I can't. I don't deserve money. I don't know that I should do that. No, you know what? Oh look, squirrel. Um, my wife is mad at me, and God or the higher power or the source consciousness is going, okay, I'm just going to wait for you to ask what you want because the universe is unlimited. Everything that
mm,
you want, you have.
yeah.
Everything you need is right there for you. And
Hmm.
I'd be interested in your thoughts. That's really,
David, this idea of unlimited joy or unlimited health or unlimited kind of freedom in presence. I love it. The amount of barriers I put to what's possible are
yep,
significant.
yep,
I'm very great at being like, okay, here's the dream, but that's not possible. So let's go like three steps down, and I let's just do that. Let's just settle for there, and not even thinking that it's even possible. I mean, and that's been true in so many areas of my life. I
yeah,
mean, whether it was, I fixed my knee yesterday, and so that I can start running again. And I don't really love running, to be honest. As my buddy Charlie Serrata from NAFM says, I like after running. I like how I feel then.
yep.
Whether it's I feel accomplished, or I feel
Dopamine.
proud that I did it. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever. The dopamine, the endorphins, all this kind of stuff. So, and that's totally me. But at one point, I didn't think I could run, 5 miles. I was like, oh my gosh, that is insane. People who do that. And then
yeah,
I did it. And then I found a few buddies that ran, Charlie and Rob Connolly and Dave Turner. And these guys are running half marathons and full marathons. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, maybe I can do a half. And then I did it. And but for years, decades, that is impossible,
yep,
until I let it no longer be possible. And that's true. I know in so many areas of my life, whether it's relationships at home, relationships with community, with the industry, or things that I want to accomplish from a career perspective, all that kind of stuff. So I love that idea that it's unlimited, brother.
I'm smiling too, Jason. Before we got on today, like my ego's going, what if one person gets on today? What if everyone hates this podcast? What if my dog just comes into my office while we're doing this podcast? And took a pause, and I'm like, "Well, thank you, ego, for letting me know you're there. Appreciate it. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. I don't need you because people are going to listen. My
Yeah.
dog's not going to bark. She's not going to come into my office, although she may want to, and it's going to be okay." And it was just a simple thing. So
I love that you're keeping it in check. The amount of these, Dave and I've done some of these where literally like my Wi-Fi went down mid-interview with someone, and there's, people. Oh gosh, yeah. One time it went down with Mark Rossi at Avanti. He runs Avanti in California,
yeah,
and I got shut off in the mid-interview. He's like, "I can't hear you, Wange," and I had to, like, another person watching, I had to send her a link mid conversation. She took over the interview, and I literally sat on the couch behind me with my wife, and we watched it as I sent her my questions, and she just went with it. And I felt so helpless. And like,
yeah,
this guy is going to think I'm such a knucklehead.
yep.
Now he's one of my best buds. Like, I love the man. But so yeah, stuff happens. It's okay. David, just a quick reminder. I've got a hard stop in about 10, just an FYI.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to maximize the time we have together, my friend.
I love it, buddy. I
So
love
with that, I'd like to just do a slight shift into our industry stuff and end.
Yeah,
We absolutely have to end with the 7 questions, and I may excuse you and keep talking if that works for you, dude.
great. Yeah, totally.
But like, who you following right now? One or two people that like in our industry, you're like, oh my gosh, he or she is doing some really sweet, awesome stuff, and you're like, love what they're doing.
There's Marlon Gordon
Yep.
and Joe Urban. Joe Urban works, I think, at a school district in North Carolina. I think he's built a consulting firm, and he and Marlon, I don't even know the degree to which they've tag teamed up in terms of this, but like Marlon or Joe just started like an AI platform that helps school districts with things. And I don't even understand the
Nice.
whole scope, but it's like it's like next level. I don't understand it, but that was like really cool, pushing the envelope of what's possible and ways to support school districts, which are really cool. My friends at FENS are just amazing. I'm always following Joe and Maureen and that crew in terms of to just learn industry stuff. So yeah, people like
I,
that.
I
You?
I had Joe too. Joe's doing like mad scientist stuff out in Idaho, and yeah, I want to get out to Idaho just to see the kitchen and like what they're thinking about and concocting. Frankly, so many of the FCSI consultants anyway are doing some amazing
Yeah.
creative stuff for sure. And my buddy Jackie Persinger with F&B by the Sea,
Mm.
she's a collector of friends. Um, she's just doing some amazing stuff to push our industry forward. So shout out Jackie for you
Way to
on
go,
that.
Jackie. I know. She and I
Yeah.
got to have a call after you introduced us at
Oh yeah.
SHFM, which was awesome. I know. She's awesome. She's got so
Oh
much energy and doing so many great things.
yeah. You can find her with her bows. That's her look. That's her signature. Um, so I'm looking at time, Jason. Looks like we got 8 minutes. Let's talk NAFM while we still have a chance, and then we'll
Yeah.
end with the 7 questions. So NAFM, are you going, Jason?
Oh, heck yes. NAFM is certainly one of our favorite shows. Deirdre and Charlie and team,
Yep.
and of course Steve, who's NAFM president this year for Middle, are doing an unbelievable job planning this. It's a great time for everyone to come with, put their best foot forward. And here's what's new, the trends and the tech and all of that stuff, the ways to connect, the concert, the parties. Like, it's such a fun experience. I love what they do. It's an amazing show. So we will certainly be there. Calma will be booth 400. Come say hi. And then actually my hard stop in 8 minutes is because we're doing a panel on wellness in food service. And so, which will be awesome. So I get to do that. And with Tom from the Burnt Chef Project, Tom Mitchell will be there, and Chris, the founder of Burnt Chef out of the UK. And then Jasmine will be there from Chow. Chow is culinary, hospitality, outreach, and wellness out of Colorado. Actually, John Hinman started that. He runs a pie company. And so they'll be there. And then my buddy, Mike Meseroff, who's been teaching me a little mindfulness, meditation, present stuff. So Mike will be there. So we're going to talk wellness and well-being. So I can't wait for that.
No, Broseph, I love that. I see Mike's on. He's been giving us some love. Mike, what's up, dude?
Oh, nice. Hi, Mike.
But by the way, Andrea from Smuckers, I see Warren, Jenna Calhoun, my buddy Jenna.
Oh, look at
Amazing.
this. I hadn't even seen these comments. I was in there was another tab. I love it. Look at everybody. So fun. This is great. Warren, Mike, Jenna, love it. Hi, everybody.
it's always nice when your friends um, join the party. I guess what I'm
Heck
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, Jason, I have to tell you, I'm super pumped for NAF. And by the way, only plug throughout the event 2900. Vivro, come see
Yes.
us. We have water if you're thirsty. I suspect some people may be out the night before and need to be hydrated.
Get
We're here
hydrated.
for that. Yeah. Yeah, and let me know and let the people know when you're talking about mental health. I think a lot of people would be keen to see that and when that's going to happen, dude, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think I will find out officially in about 10 minutes, but I think
Okay.
it's Thursday around 1. And I
Okay.
know from every year has an area where there's a stage, and they'll have tons of speakers coming through different presentations of things that are meaningful for all of us. So I think it's Monday, or I'm sorry, Thursday at 1. We'll confirm. I'll share with you and we'll put it out there.
Perfect. And with somebody new with a company, they're attending NAFM for the first time. What words of advice would you say if they're attending? Like, how should they approach the show?
Oh my gosh. My number one word probably is almost always curious. Just come curious. I would say ask a lot of questions, both in terms of what's out there from a functional perspective, all these booths, in Vibro, all these booths, so many companies doing so many cool things.
Yep.
And I would say connect. The number one thing that remains in relationships remain key,
Amen.
both from a work perspective, but also we are a unique industry where the relationships matter on a personal level. So
Yep.
often, a lot of the people I call when I'm in a jam personally now are in the industry, right? David, it's you. Like I'll call
Same.
you and a handful of other people that are my work friends who have just become my friends and my brothers and so that's another real gift. And so if you haven't connected in that way, I would say be open to listening, learning, asking great questions, and connecting with people.
I love it. I'm totally open to be somebody's friend. Jason, I'm sure you will. Like we like
Love to.
friends. We
Heck
like
yeah,
people.
me too.
Okay, we're getting up on time, and um, I'd like to ask you 7 questions,
Let's
if
go. We
possible.
got 4 minutes. Let's do it.
4 minutes. And Jason, you have not read these questions, correct? You are not aware of these questions. Okay, Jason, one
Nope.
thing I do want you to know is that at the end of these questions, if you answer all 7 correct, there'll be a prize that you will receive at NAFM. How's that sound?
So stoked. So stoked.
Okay, I have to read this so I say it correctly. Okay, Jason, skiing or surfing?
Skiing.
Love it. Country or rock music?
Country.
Read a book or book on tape?
Oh. Book on tape from a time perspective. I enjoy more reading a book, but
That's
I
fair.
probably do more listening.
Very good. Do you think Bono from U2, the band, has found what he's looking for?
Um, I would guess he seems like a thoughtful human who's often leaning in. I would guess he's unwrapped some of those presents, and I would guess there's more presents that he's going to keep unwrapping as he grows.
That's fantastic. 2 more questions, Jason, and this will be quickly, like three words. What would you tell 23-year-old Jason entering the industry? What would you tell him? 3 words or 3 phrases.
I would say believe in you. I would say remain curious, and I would say don't doubt the thing that makes you come alive.
Dude, nice, nice. You're on a roll. You're. Well, I won't tell you where you're scoring right now. And lastly, given the opportunity, should one run with scissors?
I'd say no. First answer's yeah. I don't think so.
You don't think? Yeah, that's fair. Hold on. We're gonna go to Ernst and Young to tally all the
I
scores.
love that there's a score. I hope I didn't get zero on it, but it's okay if I did.
Oh, Jason, we're going full circle. You're enough. Even if you did get a 0, it's okay.
Oh,
That's
I love
okay.
that. You're right, David.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you scored 7 out of 7, and you are getting a prize at NAFM for that. So, Jason, I know we're up against it. So, normally I would have you ask a question, but the question I know you would ask me would be
I
Ask
know
it.
my question. I know my
Ask it.
question. I
Ask it.
mean, well, there's a few, but one of them was when I come to Chicago,
Yep.
I like to get a Chicago dog.
Yep.
You're from Chicago, so when you go back to Chicago, do you like to get a Chicago dog?
Oh gosh, I love Chicago hot dogs. Well, Bob Kleckner and I are gonna laugh. We have a story. If you got to drop, you drop. But Bob Kleckner and I were at the NRAEF dinner 2 years ago,
Okay.
talking about Chicago hot dogs, and we got invited to this military VIP dinner. It was just absolutely amazing. Like blown away by the stature of the people there. Bob Kleckner and I are at this table. This gentleman looks like you, regular looking dude, and we're talking about foods and hot dogs. And the guy says, "Yeah, I put ketchup on my hot dog." Now Bob's from Elgin, I'm from Geneva. We're Chicago boys. We're like, "Dude, what's wrong with you? Like, do your parents like?" And we could see he could get along. I'm like, "Do your parents not love you? Were you raised by wolves?" And he was having a good time. But for an hour straight, we're ripping on this guy, having fun with him, good natured. Fast forward to go to the VIP dinner for the military awards. They're giving awards to bases and boats across the world. All the awards go out, and they said, "We'd now like to invite our keynote speaker. He has two Purple Hearts, Congressional Medal of Honor. He was the captain of SEAL Team 6. Captain. He's the guy of the SEALs. The same dude that Bob and I had spent an hour teasing on putting ketchup on his hot dog gets up, and Bob and I looked at each other and said, "We're dead tonight." But fortunately, we caught him after, and we said, "Dude, put as much ketchup on your hot dogs as you want. We don't
Yeah.
care. You're serving our country." So that's a funny story.
Listen, man, I
Yep.
could not be more glad that you are doing this.
Thank
You
you.
are a perfect person to bring these conversations to the industry. You are giving permission to many. And brother, you are a light to me and to so many. And keep leaning in, my friend. I love you.
I love you too, Jason, and thank you for being here. You're the best, dude. Can't wait to see you soon.
Heck yeah, you too, brother.
All
I will
right.
see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you.
See you, Jace.
Bye, buddy.
All right. See ya. All right, everyone. As Jason leaves, I wanted to again thank Vibro for this time. Thank you, Jason Wange, for his time today. Thank you for all of you that tuned in. Was an amazing experience. Cannot wait to see you soon. And for those still on going to NAFM, um, I'm also going to be giving away a couple things, but you have to have the secret word. If you find me at NAFM or the FCSI event, you can get a Vivro bottle or Your Beautiful sticker. You can pick which one, but you got to give me the secret word. And the secret word is Geneva. So if you come to me, I'm on the floor, you name it, you say Geneva, we'll get you a sticker and or a Vivro bottle, or swing by our booth if you want to. So with that, everyone, thank you for joining again. Thank you to Vivro. Thank you to the universe. Thank you for all things possible. It's been an amazing day. We'll chat soon. See ya. Bye.